Hey there everyone, welcome back to Adam's Kitchen. So today on the menu we have a Japanese roast beef bowl. Alright, so now let's start by preparing the steak. So again, the steak should be at room temperature. Be sure to take it out at least 5 minutes, if not 10 minutes before you start cooking it. Generously add salt and pepper to it. And remember, as I said before in the previous video, if you like steak, I'll put a card up on the top right corner, that when you season your meat, it's going to come off in the pan very quickly, so be sure to be generous when you season it. So after you season it, I want you to get the pan ready, get it nice and hot, but not too hot. And in my case, I added a tiny bit of oil, just like less than a teaspoon, just to prevent the meat from sticking to it when I initially put it in, because the meat I'm using does not have a lot of fat. If you use a more fatty cut of meat, then you might not have to do this step and you could just skip it altogether. So once the pan is pretty hot, I want you to sear the steak on all sides. Now, we're not really cooking it, we're just trying to make sure that a lot of the juices and stuff don't come pouring out when we start to prepare it, when we start to cut it and such. So as you see, I'm just searing it for a few minutes on all sides. And once I have it all the sides seared, I'm going to add the water and cover it immediately. Now we're just going to kind of steam it a little bit for a few minutes, about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, to let the water kind of steam cook around the meat. So once it's been steaming about 5 minutes, you can take it out, and you'll see there's still some water in there, which is perfectly fine. We're just going to mix that up and kind of cook it down a little bit more. And about a few more minutes later, we're going to add the onions into the beef juices and such. And again, we're going to cook this down a little bit too, just until the onions are cooked through. Okay, so once the onions have cooked through, you can add the sake to deglaze the pan. And be sure to cook it until the alcohol is cooked out. It shouldn't take very long. The alcohol and sake comes out pretty quickly. And once the alcohol has come out and it no longer smells like alcohol, you can add the soy sauce and sugar and kind of mix it together and boil it until the sugar has melted. Now at this point, the roast beef should have rested enough to where we can start preparing everything else. So be sure that when you go to slice the beef that your knife is very, very sharp. Now as you can see in this video, I'm sharpening it now just so that it will be a lot easier to slice thin slices. Now the first piece is generally kind of just a sample piece because it's the end piece, and in my case, I seared the ends. Alright, that was a little bit better. Okay, as you can see, the pieces that are not cut so beautifully, I guess you could say, or not, it's kind of torn or only half cut. I just move them to the side. We can put those underneath, kind of as a filler for the top part. We'll put the best slices on the outside. So you can see, the steak is a beautiful rare. And as you can see on the cutting board, there's not that much juice coming out. That's because we let it rest for such a long time that the meat kind of just absorbed the juices back. Now, when the steak becomes a little bit too difficult to hang on to, what I do and what I recommend you do is rather than trying to continue slicing it and potentially cutting yourself, just cut it up into strips as I do, and you could use it for a steak sandwich or you can make a steak burrito. There's lots of different options. So next, let's move on to the assembly part, where we take some fresh rice and we just kind of pack it into like a simple kind of loose cone shape into a bowl. Now from there, we'll add some of the onion sauce that we made earlier. Not too much, just enough to get some of the flavor on the inside. Because once we put the roast beef on the outside, the sauce isn't really going to get to it until we really dig into it. We want to make every bite kind of an equal balance of flavor, beef, sauce, and rice. So just drizzle a little bit over. Then we'll start to build our roast beef bowl by taking some of our maybe not so nice looking slices, if you have any, and putting them on the inside. And we'll use the nicer slices on the outside just for presentation purposes, to impress your family or your friends, or if you have a special dinner that you're making for someone. We want it to look as nice as possible. And then we can drizzle some more of the onion sauce on top. Then we'll put on some of our fresh cracked black pepper. Our green onion. We'll put a nice generous teaspoon or tablespoon, depending on how much sauce you want on the side. And to finish it off, we're going to top it with a beautiful golden egg yolk. And with that, we have a beautiful and delicious tasting Japanese roast beef bowl. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you give this recipe a try for yourself. It is quite amazing. And I look forward to seeing you in our next video. So please, if you could, please like and subscribe to this channel. I'd really appreciate it. And if you could share this video with your friends and family, that would really make a big difference. So thanks a lot, everybody, and I'll see you next week.